My Emile took over my baby shower, called my daughter hers, and my husband let it happen. Now I'm questioning everything about my marriage and if he'll ever truly choose me over her. I'm a 36-year-old woman, and I've been married to my husband, Ryan, 38M, for nearly 10 years. We've had a good life together, not perfect, but loving, committed, and stable. For most of our marriage, we tried to have children. I've had 3 miscarriages, each one more devastating than the last. After the third, doctors finally confirmed what I had suspected deep down: I can't carry a pregnancy to term. There's a condition with my uterus that makes it too high risk. Trying again could threaten my life. That news shattered me. Grieving the loss of those pregnancies was one thing, but grieving the entire future I had imagined. Watching Ryan play with our kids in the backyard, Christmas mornings with messy wrapping paper and tiny socks, hearing someone call me Mom, that was a different kind of grief. It was quieter. Longer. I still haven't fully come to terms with it. Ryan has been incredible through it all. Supportive, patient, never blaming. We've started exploring adoption. It's been a slow process, but for the first time in a while, we're hopeful. Now, here's where things get messy. My younger sister, Zoe, 33F, is a single mom of 2 boys, 5 and 7. We've always had a complicated relationship. Zoe is magnetic. She lights up any room, but she's also impulsive and chaotic. Growing up, I was the responsible one, while Zoe was the free spirit. Our parents enabled a lot of her recklessness because she was the baby. I always felt like I was cleaning up her messes, paying her bills, watching her kids on short notice, defending her bad decisions. Despite all that, I love her. I've tried to be a good sister. I know life hasn't been easy for her. She had both of her kids with different men, either of whom are in the picture. She works part-time at a salon and lives with our mom, who helps with the boys. Zoe's a decent mom, affectionate, fun, but disorganized and constantly overwhelmed. About 6 months ago, Zoe came to me with a crazy idea. She said she wanted to help me have a baby. At first, I thought she meant helping with adoption paperwork or emotional support. But no, she meant carrying a baby for us. Surrogacy. I was stunned. She framed it as this selfless act. I want to give you what you've always wanted. I'm done having kids anyway. She made it sound beautiful, 2 sisters helping each other heal. At first, I was deeply moved. I cried. I told her we'd have to look into it legally and medically, but that if she was serious, we'd consider it. But then, the conversation started changing. She began dropping comments like, "If I'm gonna go through pregnancy again, I'll need a bigger place to live." Or, "You know I'll have to take time off work, right?" Then, "I mean, I'll be risking my body for this. I should be compensated." Which, okay, fair. Surrogates do get paid. I wasn't naive. But the way she spoke about it felt transactional. Like a business deal she thought she was guaranteed to win. There was no warmth behind it anymore, just entitlement. Then she dropped the bomb. "I want to keep the baby with me for the first year. You know, to make sure the transition is smooth." I was speechless. "You mean, after the baby is born?" I asked. "Yeah," she said like it was obvious. "The baby will bond with me. I can't just hand it over right away." I told her no. That wasn't how surrogacy worked. If we went through with it, we'd be the baby's parents from the moment of birth. She got defensive. Said I didn't trust her. That I was treating her like a rented womb. That's when the arguments really began. After that initial argument, I tried to cool things off. I didn't want to destroy our relationship over one emotional conversation. I figured maybe Zoe had just gotten overwhelmed by the idea. Maybe she was processing her own feelings about pregnancy and didn't realize how her words came across. So a few days later, I invited her out for coffee. Just us. Neutral ground. I thanked her again for offering to help and told her how much it meant to me, but I also set some boundaries. I explained that for us to even consider surrogacy, everything would need to be legal, medical, clear, contracts, therapists, the whole 9 yards. We would need to work with professionals. This wasn't something we could do casually, not with so much at stake. Zoe rolled her eyes the entire time. You act like I'm some random person off the street, she said. I'm your sister. Why do we need lawyers between us? Because that's how this works, Zoe, I replied as gently as I could. It's not about mistrust. It's about protecting everyone, including you. She crossed her arms and said, Well, if we're doing all that, I want full say in the birth plan. And I want to be involved in parenting decisions too. I'm not just going to hand over a baby and be cut out of her life. I felt like I'd been punched in the chest. I asked her, Are you offering to be a surrogate or to co-parent? She didn't answer. Just stared at me. And in that silence, I saw the truth. Zoe didn't really want to help me become a mother. She wanted to tie herself to this child in a way that would give her power, control, maybe love, maybe validation. I don't even know. And then came the kicker. She leaned forward, lowered her voice, and said, You owe me this. I blinked. What? You owe me. All those times I came to you for help, you never said no. You were always the strong one, the successful one. I've always been the screw-up. But this is something only I can give you. And you're acting like I'm trying to scam you. I just sat there stunned. I don't owe you a child, Zoe, I said. And if you think that's what this is, some kind of emotional debt I'm supposed to pay off, then we're not having the same conversation. She stormed out of the coffee shop. I thought that would be the end of it, that she'd cool off and we'd move on, awkward but civil. But no. A week later, my mother called me in tears. Apparently, Zoe told her I had used her, dangled a baby in front of her and then discarded her. That I didn't appreciate her gift. That I'd turned the whole family against her. Mom was devastated. She begged me to fix it. She said Zoe was just trying to be generous. And hurting in her own way. And now, somehow, I'm the villain. I've since heard from cousins, aunts, people I barely talk to, asking why I rejected Zoe's incredible offer. Some said I was too proud, that I should have been grateful. Others asked if I really thought Zoe would steal the baby. And I don't know how to explain to them that it's not that simple. It's not about gratitude. It's about safety, trust, boundaries. But no one seems to care about that. And now I'm starting to wonder, did I handle this wrong? Should I have just said yes? Or was I right to walk away when the lines got blurry? Because the fallout is just beginning, and I haven't even told Ryan what Zoe said to me the night before she left. I wasn't going to tell Ryan what Zoe had said. At first I thought it wasn't worth it, just a dramatic moment, a heat of the argument type of thing. But it wouldn't stop echoing in my head. So the night Zoe stormed out of the cafe, I came home, sat down on the couch, and told Ryan everything. At first, he was quiet. Just listened. But as I explained Zoe's conditions, wanting control over the baby's first year, wanting to be involved in parenting the "you owe me" part, I saw his expression change from concern to fury. She thinks she owns the baby before it even exists? He said, almost laughing in disbelief. She wants to co-parent our child? I nodded, my throat tight. I can't let her do this to you, he said. To us. That's when I broke down. Not just from Zoe's betrayal, but because I felt so utterly alone in all of it. The grief of infertility, the guilt of not being able to give Ryan a child, the shame that somehow this had become a public family scandal. She told people I used her. I whispered. That I dangled a baby in front of her like a carrot. And now they all think I'm ungrateful. Ryan hugged me hard and said, Let them think what they want. We know the truth. But I wasn't prepared for what came next. That same night, Zoe texted me. A long, jumbled wall of messages. She'd clearly been drinking. Some of it made no sense, but one message stood out like a knife to the gut. You don't even deserve to be a mom if you're going to treat your own sister like this. No wonder your body rejected all your pregnancies. I stared at it, numb. Then I showed Ryan. And for the first time since I've known him, I saw rage in his eyes. Not frustration. Not irritation. Rage. I want her out of our lives, he said flatly. This isn't just drama anymore. This is cruelty. But of course, it wasn't that simple. Because when I didn't respond to her messages, Zoe doubled down. She posted vague stories on social media. Some people don't appreciate love when it's handed to them. Imagine letting bitterness turn you into a monster. Family doesn't mean sh*t to some people. And of course, our mutual friends and extended family started asking questions. One aunt even DM'd me saying, "Is it true you turned your back on Zoe after all she offered you?" It was like I was being tried in a court of public opinion, and losing. Ryan wanted to go no contact immediately. But I hesitated. Because despite everything, she's my sister. We shared a childhood. We cried over the same parents' divorce. I held her when she had her first panic attack. She held my hand after my second miscarriage. And now she was saying I didn't deserve to be a mom. I didn't sleep that night. I just laid awake wondering, how did we get here? How did a gift of love turn into a weapon? Was it always doomed? Or did I make it worse? There's more. Especially with my mom. And what she asked me to do next. A few days after Zoe's drunken texts and the explosion on social media, I got a call from my mom. She started with her usual quiet tone. I just want to talk. But I could hear the strain in her voice. She was holding something back. I talked to Zoe, she said. She's really hurt. She feels like you've abandoned her. I didn't say anything. She told me she offered you the most selfless gift a sister could give, Mom continued. And now she's being punished for it. I finally spoke. Did she also tell you she demanded to keep the baby for a year? That she called me defective? That she said I don't deserve to be a mom? There was silence. Then Mom exhaled. She was upset. You were both upset. Things were said that shouldn't have been. I felt my chest tighten. You're excusing it. I'm not, she said quickly. I'm just trying to keep the family from falling apart. And then she said it, the sentence I will never forget. Maybe you should consider giving Zoe a little more control. Letting her stay involved. It might be the only way you'll ever have a child with your genes. It felt like someone had thrown a bucket of ice water over my head. I asked her to repeat herself. She did. You're not getting any younger, she added. And Zoe's offering something no one else can. Maybe there's a compromise here. A compromise? Like sharing custody of a child I would raise and love and call my own, with a woman who had already called me broken. I can't believe you're saying this, I said, shaking. I can't believe you'd side with her. I'm not siding with anyone, she insisted. I'm being practical. Zoe may not have said things the right way, but she's still your sister. And family doesn't just walk away from each other. That word, family, hit me like a slap. Because suddenly, I realized what this had all come down to. My family, the people who had seen me at my lowest, the ones who were supposed to know me, had decided that Zoe's offer, conditional, manipulative, and cruel, was worth more than my boundaries. They thought I should be grateful. That I should bend. That motherhood was something to be bartered. I ended the call by telling my mom I needed space. She cried and told me she hoped I wouldn't shut everyone out. But I already had. Emotionally, at least. Zoe's betrayal, I could almost understand. She's always been messy, emotional, unpredictable. But my mom? Suggesting I compromise the most sacred thing I'd ever wanted? That cut deeper than anything. Ryan says we need to go no contact. I'm not sure I'm strong enough yet. But I'm starting to see the truth. Sometimes, the people closest to you can't be trusted with your heart. It's been 3 months since the last call with my mother. 3 months since Zoe told the world I used her. Since I was labeled ungrateful by people who never once asked for my side. Ryan and I decided to move forward with a licensed surrogacy agency. It's expensive, emotionally exhausting, and slow, but it's safe. And it's ours. Every contract is clear. Every boundary respected. No blurred lines. No guilt-tripping. Zoe hasn't reached out since. She's blocked me on everything, and the mutual relatives who took her side haven't said a word either. The silence is strange. Heavy, but peaceful. Like the space after a storm where you can finally assess the damage. But the worst silence comes from my mom. She hasn't called. Not once. And I haven't called her. There are days when I pick up my phone, thumb hovering over her name in my contacts. Part of me wants to hear her voice, to pretend like none of this happened. To believe we're still a family. But I can't forget her words. Maybe you should give Zoe more control. It might be your only shot. She didn't see me. Not really. She saw a broken daughter, desperate for a child, and thought my pain made me negotiable. Disposable. I've spoken to my therapist about this a lot. About grief that comes before loss. Because I'm mourning people who are still alive, a sister who weaponized my trauma, a mother who chose peace over protection, and a version of myself that still believed in unconditional love. And yet, here's the twist. Last week, our agency matched us with a surrogate. A kind, clear-eyed woman named Eliza. She has 2 children of her own, loves hiking, and made it clear she's not giving away a child, she's helping a family grow. No strings. No emotional entanglement. Just love, and boundaries, and consent. Ryan cried when we got the call. I did too. And in that moment, for the first time in years, I didn't feel broken. I didn't feel desperate. I just felt whole. But I know the comments, if this were on Reddit, would be torn. Some would say I should have worked harder to fix things with Zoe. That I owed her more empathy. Others would say I waited too long to cut her off. That I should have seen it coming. And maybe they're all a little right. Or a little wrong. That's the thing about family, it's messy, and raw, and sometimes love gets twisted into something unrecognizable. But I've learned that loving someone doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. And forgiveness doesn't mean opening the same door that burned you. So here I am, grieving, healing, and hoping. And if I ever have a daughter, I'll tell her this. You never owe someone your body, your child, or your peace.